First of all, I would like to thank you for your kind support. We are very happy to have the chance to listen you today. And in this session, you aim to introduce open innovation approaches in the context of sustainability and provide insights into the open innovation theory and practice by presenting open innovation management frameworks, processes, and types, illustrated through multiple cases that successfully combine open innovation with sustainable development. And I don't want to take too much time. It's your turn. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just can say that I will follow up all questions, and at the end of the session, we can answer them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, dear Dr. Bulut. Thank you for inviting me, and also thanks to Open Science community for organizing such an event and giving us opportunity to talk about openness again. So I hope to take place in the further events of Open Science community as well. Well, though the participation is very limited, I hope the information, knowledge, or discussions that we are trying to share for now will be available in the afterwards from the recorded sessions. Well, today's agenda is, as Burcu said, about the open innovation. So I think I can share my screen.
Thanks.
Yes. Well, we really talked about open innovation in the previous decade. It's not, in fact, it's not something new. And even some scholars call it the old wine in new bottles. So in fact, I will not be coming out with very brand new or concepts, and I will not be introducing you some new inventions or new theories, but the applicability of open innovation and the importance of open innovation in the twin transition, especially green and digital transition process of EU, and also the Sustainable Development Goals agenda that will be in the that will be having the utmost priority till 2030. Raise the need for collaboration again and again, because the resources of anybody remained, any institution remained insufficient, regardless of the scale, because the challenges were so high and the scientific and technological needs are so intense. Hence, open innovation came to the table again. That's why I will try to remind a little bit about the concept, and it will, the first two bullets are a little bit boring, but I will try to complete them as soon as possible. And then, of course, let's have a look at the processes and the approaches. And there's a very strong, robust framework, policy framework of open innovation in European context. So I thought referring to it would be good to be aware of the supports, political and regulative supports that we have, enablers that we have in open innovation in the Union. And of course, ELISA underlines the openness, as can be traced from all these work packages, deliverables, principles, the strategies, and the communities on open science and openness. So the open innovation as an open approach, how ELISA interacts with the OIX concept, I will discuss it. And then we will have our cases and we will have a look at the future. This is the agenda. I generally don't like monologues a lot, but this part I will have to read or summarize it. Open innovation with that it can be, we can use the initials OI. It's similar to AI or OI. We mean some flows, inflows and outflows of knowledge and know-how for organizations. I mean, we receive knowledge, we deliver knowledge, and these flows have a purpose of innovation. So when our boundaries, within our boundaries, when we remain somehow insufficient in terms of resources, capabilities, competencies, then we can prefer to make something open. So open innovation comes to the scene at this point, and through open innovation, we don't just get some technological knowledge or some ideas, but also we have the chance to enter new markets, they say. So it is a typical window of opportunity for the firms and institutions, because there's a competition environment, and now there's a sustainability environment. This is the initial definition. Now it's not just because the competition is for sustainability. So innovativeness, continuous improvement, continuous innovativeness and continuous improvement is required a lot. So our internal resources remains short than open innovation gained importance again. If you have strict boundaries, avoiding the flow of information and knowledge and know-how, including intellectual properties and licenses, patents, utility models, whatever you use it. If you prevent the inflow and outflow of all these know-how, knowledge, and capability, outside to the outside of the organization, to the inside the organization, and this is closed innovation. That used to be most of the R&D based innovations used to be that way because of the competition and rivalry that were underlined, especially after the 1950s, and made their top in the 1980s in the business discipline. So this was very close for the competition, and the resource base was very important. If you have a scale, if you have a resource base, if you have high capacities in terms of R&D personnel, R&D investment, facilities, labs, then you would be better in innovation. But then there came a time with the breakthroughs by the introduction of new technologies like the nanotechnologies, especially internet, and all these transformation going all around the industries. Then we had to get and give to the all along the boundaries of the institutions. So it started with receiving IP licenses, intellectual property licenses, and giving licenses out to the firm, like, all these electronics, especially in the Silicon Valley companies really made many innovations from one invention. So it was open innovation. And also idea sharings, collaboration, co-creation, was required because the companies wanted to utilize the ideas and insights of their stakeholders. So open innovation turned the strict boundaries to dashed lines, as can be seen here, so that the purpose of inflows and outflows of information could be provided. In the beginning of 2010s, in the European Union, European Commission was very involved in open innovation, and they underlined the importance of open innovation. Now they are into co-creation, collaboration a lot. especially co-creation is in the agenda always. So the traditional approach was a pyramid with less people were working on innovation and technology development. Then we put everyone involved in the process as beneficiary or as enabler on the top of the pyramid. So this changed everything. Well, this is open innovation. It affected our decision-making processes. It made the decision-making more democratic, more inclusive, and allowed using the mind of everyone, so that it became it provided a wider approach to problem solving, because we have so many problems, more than before. And the creation of mutually beneficial solutions is enabled by the active involvement of the individuals and organizations. And the keyword is broader groups of stakeholders and collaborative community engagement around specific challenges and issues. Well, it sounds very familiar to ELISA members, ELISA community, because inclusiveness and collaborative community engagement is one of our objectives. But open innovation has a new interpretation called co-creation. Co-creation, we all know about it, but let's remind the definition. It's the active, creative, and social process based on the collaboration between producers and users, initiated by the firm to generate value for customers. Well, this is nice. This is a nice definition, but co-creation is beyond it. It is a personalized experience delivery, in fact, for the value proposition that we try to propose. And all along the value chain, all along the process, whoever takes place or whoever is involved in any phase of the process, they are among the creators in co-creation. It is good to know that you can make a good idea even better when you work with people. So good ideas, we have already good ideas. We already have good tech. We already have high tech. We have everything. So why do we need people? Yes, you can make it better, because in the upcoming iterations, especially, you may be noticing the new needs, and people can make you aware of all needs when you are into co-creation. And this engagement is very valuable. So it's a collaborative process, promotes development ideas and solutions to be deployed in the context where they have emerged. Yes, co-creation has a context factor. I mean, it's contextual. It's related to location, it's related to time. It has spatial and temporal focus, co-creation. And so citizen science and citizen involvement, and also the industry or the problem context really drives the co-creation and defines the stakeholders. So the context is more important in co-creation than open innovation. And creativity comes into the service. So we need some spaces for co-creation, as you know. And then open innovations, interacting with each other, collaborating with each other for innovation, but it is hard to do that. So we need platforms like open innovation platforms. You know, we have triple helix, you know, university, industry, government. And then we made it quadruple helix because we added the community, the civil society, or the NPOs, NGOs everywhere. So these platforms, an open innovation platform, that there are many platforms in Tampere and in Italy that they are working on the specific solutions for specific industries or SDGs. But the background of Open Innovation Platform is the quadruple helix Open Innovation model. So we look for the involvement, participation of government, public institutions, or municipalities, and also industry, including the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and universities, academia, higher education, and research institutes, and civil society, and civil participants together. So co-creation space, like living labs, co-creation labs, we must put it in the cities, where the citizens are, where the community is. So it needs, it's also important to be in the living environment where the problem is being faced or the challenges faced. This is very productive, efficient, and effective, all of them. Co-creation spaces. It also enables a good education, training environment, awareness raising environment. And it is not just prototyping, it is just repositioning our mindset for a common goal, especially a sustainability goal, and the responsibility goal, and for a better living is the key word. So it's a bottom-up process. You know, everything is used to be top-down in the liberalized economy era, or in the Taylorist era, even in Fordist era, even in total quality management era. But in the open innovation approach, we see the bottom-up very intensely. So these co-creation spaces are in fact living labs. You know, FAO introduced us this Joseph's in Germany. So there are many living labs. There's a community, there's a network of living labs in, you know, in the European context in all. So living labs are spaces. They are physical spaces, and also there are some digital spaces that we call as living labs, especially by the pandemics. We create the cyber physical universe, as you know, and living labs are part of it. So it uses some systematic approaches. It's not that open-ended, let's come on thing and let's decide. It's not like that. We have processes. In living labs, there's a systematic user co-creation approach. So it is first, firstly, this approach is introduced and shared as a mindset, as an approach. And after the acceptance of the systematic user co-creation approach, the challenges, societal challenges, are brought to the scene, and then research provides their possible solutions, solving some scientific and technological needs, and then the ideation, definition, and planning, and building the case, and also prototyping are performed there. So they are practice-driven. They are not university type or a high-tech lab type places. They are practice-driven rather than theory-driven. So we love living labs. We hope to have living labs everywhere. There's no competition between living labs. More living labs is better. So this is where we mustn't be very conservative, or we mustn't go to saving in terms of living. So because they are intermediaries between the tower and the bazaar, the cathedral and the bazaar. Bazaar has been always overlooked by the academia, research institutions, high-tech industry leaders for a long, long time. So this intermediary is very valuable for making the people in the cathedral go down to the bazaar and talk about the challenges and come out with the solutions. So, and prototyping infrastructure is important for living labs, because without prototyping, in fact, it is hard to communicate the solution. And it's agility asks us, and design thinking asks us to prototype a lot, iterate a lot. Rapid prototyping is among the key approaches of living labs. So we need prototyping spaces in living labs. It's not just offices, by the way. So when we summarize, open innovation, co-creation, and even crowdsourcing, making people create an idea for you, it's a part of this mindset, because we are using the ideas and information of the crowds in crowdsourcing. So it's a part of co-creation ecosystem. So they're all about being open and collaborative in the end. So this was the boring part. Any questions about the concepts, by the way, if we can also elaborate on some issues, because there are very slight differences. There are slight differences in between. Okay. Well, why are we talking about it, and why can we have such sessions, such communities, such support? Because we have a political framework. I have just listed some of them, and also some policy group on open innovation in European Union has published many papers, many reports till now. And last Horizon call, it was about open innovation, addressing grand challenges in artificial intelligence and robotics. And recently also the open innovation test beds were introduced in the union's context. So underlining that they have huge potential to benefit Europe, bringing the living lab approach with the open innovation is the sustainability challenges, calling for urgent scientific and technological solutions. The test beds, OI test beds, are still in the agenda of EU, and also there are many publications, but one of the very important publications is that of the Fuster et al.'s. The open data, open science, and open innovation are important for smart specialization, which has the highest priority in industry's agenda. So we cannot separate them, in fact. Without open science, without an academia which doesn't want to share know-how, we can't do open innovation. Or without open data, we cannot work or prototype on some AI solutions, for example. So they all come together. And of course, Chesbro, the father, the name father, somehow the introducer of open innovation concept, they also provided strong patterns of open innovation in the public policy in the EU, especially for SMEs. So we have a political framework. We see that from the latest issues, latest policy documents, that open innovative service design is also very popular and very, we see it in bold. And we see that the service design, open innovation for services, has received attention of both the policymakers, researchers, and practitioners. And because, the societal challenges brought many social service problems, bottlenecks, including health services, doubled by the aging problem or by the refugee, the immigrants, the immigration problem or issue. So, and also some, the pandemic put the last point to there. So service design, open innovation in services is another important dimension that I would like to underline. So ecosystem and stakeholder relationships have been the enabler of solutions rather than the R&D in labs or in research institutions in terms of social services, health services, citizen services. The solution is coming bottom up. This is very important. It's not coming from governments anymore. So we know it. So rising societal grand challenges, including environmental and social challenges, they require us to make transformative changes. Now, Interreg Europe, in their policy brief from the Policy Learning Platform on Research and Innovation, they say that open, social, and responsible innovation. So being open, being social, and responsible innovation. So there's a policy shift happening. It began to happen, but now it happened almost. It is about to mature and coming as the regulator. We need to focus on open innovation and responsible innovation and blend these concepts together before it's too late. We talked about open innovation test beds. What do they mean by test beds? That the innovator can access to these test beds, OITBs. They are good. They are for testing nanotechnologies and advanced materials before going to the market, because they are among the prior strategic research areas, nanotechnologies and advanced materials, very critical for sustainability because they are input providers to many industries and many pillars. So it begins with the material. That's why EU underlines that. And the twin transition, green and digital transition, and is supported by these open innovation test beds, like in dimensions of mobility, health, energy and climate, food and natural resource, digitalization, inclusive, secure societies. They are European research area topics and also strategic research areas in ELISA. And also they're all embedded in many sustainable development goals. So open innovation test beds are required for this. So what do we do? Collaboration, impact. In fact, they categorize it into two ways. You do open innovation for technology exploitation, but before it, we mostly do open innovation. We mostly utilize open innovation. We mostly primarily practice open innovation for technology exploration, finding the solution, and then deploying the solution. So the first of all, the intellectual property rights, IPRs, or intellectual properties. In technology exploration, we look for patents, models, everything, and then we license it. So this is inward licensing. This is open innovation's first pattern. And if you develop your own solution, you have your own IP, then if you license it outwards, this is also technology exploitation, open innovation. First phase, basics, using licenses or giving licenses, sharing info. It doesn't have to be free, by the way, to call it open innovation. On the other side, for technology exploration, yes, customer involvement, customer experience, CX, UX, everything is for open innovation. So we have to put the customer in an agile way, not in the test in the end, or not by keeping the customer in service during the needs analysis, and then revisit them in the test and omit them all through the process. It is old school, it's old process. So involving customer in different phases of innovation and development. But what made the change is the other two: external networking and external participation. That's why we underline networks, we underline participativeness, we underline inclusiveness. These two made the difference and led to all these political and industrial changes. Of course, venturing, you know, when you venture a new idea as an institution, this is good for technology exploitation, spin-offs from large institutions. We see academic entrepreneurship from universities, we see spin-off companies from large enterprises, thematic spin-offs like an AI company from the software company. You can see an AI company as a spin-off, or a computer vision company as a spin-off. So open innovation includes all of them. So two sides. And when, of course, there can be pecuniary or non-pecuniary, financial or non-financial dimensions, but sourcing for technology exploitation, customer and consumer co-creation, crowdsourcing, public is informal networking. They have been very promising, and they have really provided great results upon the practice that we will see. Yes, we now in the ELISA, for example, and like in other platforms, we have idea competitions, hackathons, ideathons, startup contests, and like the, you know, the some challenges, some awards given to all value chain members, and even research grants are good for technology exploration, for open innovation, and of course, open innovation intermediaries. That's what we need for now. To do that, we are trying to make the people engaged in the innovation process. That's what we're trying to do today in this Knowledge Bites, and that's what we're trying to do in many pillars, in communities, in clusters, everywhere. We are making calls and open to everyone, because we need the stakeholder engagement here. But to do that, first of all, the culture and resources must be enabling, must be available and enabler of this process. Engagement doesn't come from the sky. You first build a culture, then you provide the resources, you provide capital, you provide people, you provide facility, you provide lab, you provide space, you provide time, you provide slack time. Then you call people to open innovation. And then make them understand why do you need them and what will they take from this process, this experience. So organizational readiness is required. That's why we're trying to build some intermediaries, some systems, some platforms, some spaces, some labs, living labs, etc. Then stakeholders must be managed.
Yeah.
Stakeholders are not your neighbors. You cannot manage your neighbors, but you embeddedly keep your relationships effective, efficient with your neighbors to find peace at your home. Stakeholders management is beyond that. It is for satisfaction. You don't have to satisfy your neighbor. You have to satisfy your stakeholders, and they must satisfy you. So this strategic mindset is needed. for engagement. Without this, and trust is the basics, the must. Trust is must. But sometimes trust is built after the experience. So that's why the leadership and team skills, especially servant leadership, and the common terminologies and a good project management and finding the right partner is good for engagement. So what is happening in ELISA? From literature, I found out many articles and resources, and some basic discussions on open innovation went around open strategy, human factor, culture and leadership, and communities. Oh, communities for distributed co-creation. So it is visible that how we in ELISA, we interact with them. You know, open strategy, yes. This is strategic choice, technology exploration, exploitation, alliances, collaborations, partnerships, academia, communities. Yes, this is happening in ELISA. And human factor, you know, all these human-centric approach, teamwork and cultural change with the motives, and the communities are a part of our approach. So ELISA is already in the open innovation framework and sharing the values of open innovation. We are. However, it is not that easy. It's a rocky road, you know, that there are barriers. The most important barrier, there are 4 dimensions: confidentiality, conservativeness, human resources, brand and image issues, market partnership, technology sources, and the management and organization. Barriers, one of the barriers for confidentiality is not invented here, not sold here. It's not ours, so it's bad. If it's not mine, I won't use it. It's not my brand, my image. So this is a very heavy rock to remove. So not invented here. It brings the competition and removes collaboration. And if I depend on others, I will lose my innovation ability. I will lose my muscles. Or my employees, they don't want to share information. You know, academics don't like to share information. And so, no, it's my information. I'll make my publication. I'll make my project. Sorry about it. So this is the barrier. On the other side, if people are not happy, if they are not unpleasant with their working conditions, if they are feeling trapped, if they lack some of the skills required, if there's a high staff turnover, if everybody's caring about the institution's reputation and image, it's also a barrier. And the management must be committed. Culture and organization must be committed. There must be idea and knowledge management system. And if they lack, it is impossible to apply OI. On the other side, someone must demand OI from you. Someone must demand some products and services that needs open innovation approach. And also the availability of partners and availability of technological solutions are key. So when we look back to ELISA, we see that ELISA aims to remove not invented saltier syndrome, working towards the same challenges, because we say that they are grand. We cannot cope with them on our own. So we accept the invented there, here, anywhere, it's okay. Another thing, trust for IP rights. So without trust, there's no alliance. We underline the trust, importance of trust. If I lose my innovation ability, collaboration is not dependence. It's just expansion of innovation ability. So we must remove this misunderstanding. Collaboration is not dependence. on vice versa. It's making the others dependent to you on the other hand. And how do I find technology providers? How do I find technology customers? How do I find users, beneficiaries? Everywhere is full of beneficiaries and users and customers. And if your market is limited, if your population is limited, in alliances such as ELISA, you have enhanced access to users in other regions, in ecosystems even. I mean, your startup can find an industrial customer in the other country, while your solutions for migrants or refugees can find their beneficiaries in another partner. So what about the employees? What about these professionals? Well, we have communities like the Open Science community. It encourages knowledge sharing already. And going beyond institutional barriers makes us happier, because if we may have some working condition limitations or unpleasant, we may be unpleasant. So it enriches our work environment by mobility, etc. On the other side, lack of skills, education programs, we are trying to give you a bite, and training and knowledge sharing. So it's about empowering our institutions' image and accountability. So it fits well with all dimensions. Partners, here are the partners. Demand, outreach to demand is leverage for expanding the local market. Collaboration is already the key. So we have the access to our solutions. This is nice. We have so much advantages in ELISA. Now, I have so many cases, but one case is from Turkey for the digital team, which is very popular nowadays, and for green and digital transition. It is the case published in many places, including digitalization cases by Springer and also in the Sustainable Computing Journal. Thanks to Arçelik and Similarge for collaborating with us during writing the case. Arçelik, we know Arçelik a lot in Turkey. It's a huge company, durable goods company, produces everything. They have many brands. They manufacture in 23 countries, in 23 production facilities worldwide. They have more than 30,000 employees, etc. And they produce 20 million units per year. And they are the third largest home appliances company in Europe with a huge export rate. And they are very good at R&D. They are patent leader in Turkey. They are R&D investment leader in top 5 in Europe. They have 17 R&D units and many investments. And they have refrigerators, which is almost 1/3 of their total production, very important product line for them. And they are into digitalization and sustainability, and they have a lighthouse factory, in sustainability awards. There's a lighthouse factories with minimized footprint, carbon footprint, etc. They also have the digital transformation center, workshop 4.0, Atelier 4.0 is an interface, a startup interface to adopt innovative technologies, a bold move towards open innovation. That's nice. So Arçelik could do anything, but they couldn't, because they were dealing with the problems in thermoforming process. You see, this is the inner surface of our refrigerators. You see the plastic there. It is processed by thermoforming, but now everyone wants minimum plastic usage. Don't make it thick, but it must be durable, and you must process it very precisely. So if it was a thick material, processing it is easier. But when it's very thin, then it's broken when processing. So it creates scrap, it creates plastic scrap, and it is very unsustainable. So they performed many trial runs in the thermoforming and reworking components. So when you are reworking, you use energy. It's unsustainable. And high volume plastic scrapping, high levels of energy consumption, they said we must do something, and it's financial loss and environmental cost. And they have many thermoforming locations all around the world, as you can see. It's not just Turkey. Many factories are facing the same thing. So they say, let's decrease these ratios, reduce plastic consumption, SDG 12. They said, let's integrate a digital twin to do that. First, they decide to do it, and then they adapted to do machine learning, but they didn't find the accuracy and precision enough. Then they moved to digital twin solution. Then they applied finite element analysis. They knew it a lot, but when they get into the research a lot, they said, well, we need a bit more expertise. And they looked for someone to partner with. So they talked with some established vendors and some emerging startups. And we see the technology exploration mode of open innovation here. They are looking for maybe contracted R&D, some external networking, external participation. They moved to the open innovation digital twin. And they partnered with Similarge from Istanbul, ITU's Technology Development Zone. They are good at digital twins and simulations. So this is the digital twin they created. Arçelik have everything: shop floor, programming logic controller, IoT, sensors, computer vision, very good data analytic teams and infrastructures, cloud solutions, everything. But Similarly introduced the open source software-based cloud digital twin in between the operator and the system. So what happened by this open innovation? $2 million annual saving, cost saving. Scrap ratio, it is very hard to move scrap ratio, by the way. Don't look like it's a 3%, 4%. It means a lot. So they dropped the scrap ratio around 5%. Original equipment efficiency index has risen about 15 to 20%, and saved 1,600 tons of plastic each year. How OI touches sustainability? This is the way we do it, by embedding. So what did we learn? First of all, collaboration for open innovation. Technology exploration in the twin transition is the key. Second, agile project management is the enabler. Third, open source software is a part of open innovation journey here. And you need digital ecosystems when you're into twin transition through OI, open innovation. Startups, access to larger markets through OI. Enterprise brings strategic renewal and open innovation, and they accelerate their R&D projects and remove from their traditional approaches. Agile practices is the success factor in this project, because it provided a repertoire for both parties to collaborate more effectively. Arçelik was into traditional waterfall approach in this kind of project, not in software. They are good at agility, but in this production hardware type thing, it is very hard to, it's a cyber physical project. And Similarge intervened the project management, the startup. And then they made the Arçelik team experience iterative working, and they experienced the benefits of agility. So this was learning. And Arçelik reached a more extensive talent basis in Similarge. When Similarge educated, trained, guided, and a production team is very high skilled, highly qualified in Arçelik already. They are great engineers, but not in digital twin. So they learned in this context, and so made it continuous and customized. And they, through open innovation, through working with this startup in an open innovation approach, in an agile project, they gained their interdependence from the provider. They say, well, we will be dependent. No, you won't be dependent. You will be independent because it makes you learn. It makes you competent. So this is the misunderstanding. So as I say, iteration and agility is the key. Another thing is open source software, open science community. We are in this open science community. Open source software is very important. Without also OSS, if the openness is lacking, it's one of the major heartbeats. Calculix and Python they used. Yes, they let the engineers learn about the application architecture and they could manage their development. But yes, it needed learning. We needed the time for learning, they say. If they were into packaged software, it would be less risky in implementation, but it would be highly costly and less flexible. So another thing, you see the dashboard that operator can even adjust this dashboard. This is nice. And of course, ecosystems effect in technology exploration. You see the competency set of partners matters. ITUC is a university incubation, pre-incubation center. They are competent in collaboration, startup variety. They have an openness to collaborate with industry. So to move beyond the organizational boundaries, and they are knowledgeable about remove potential procedural obstacles. Atelier workshop 4.0 of Arçelik's digitalization hub is working with ITUC. So it's a part of the ecosystem. Arçelik already is working with Atelier, and Similarge is born from ITUC and still in the ITU ecosystem. So ITUC acted as an intermediary, Atelier acted as an intermediary. So then they brought together, and in the end, Arçelik became more efficient and sustainable in thermoforming, and Similarge has grown by this collaboration. So ecosystems effect is the key. What we learned, there are many cases like Enel. We don't have time, but I would like to show you the Enel Green Power from Italy. And maybe most of European friends know about it, but it's new to us. And especially I advise all my colleagues from IT to think about this word, and everyone, of course, let's meet Enel, I tell my colleagues, and for all partners, let's think about this innovability concept that I like a lot because they combine innovation and sustainability. So they are doing it with the open power, open innovation, open science, open data. In energy, we have open power because Enel introduced this strategy and it introduced the context. I would like to conclude by this slide because it shows 5 pillars of openness. Be open to new technologies. Be open to new kind of user patterns. Be open to new partnerships. Be open your product, open your service to more people, and be open to the new ways of managing technology for people. And I put energy to these pillars. When you remove it, it is valid for all industries. Yes, thank you. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. It was really an inspiring session.
Thank you.
I started to smile at the beginning, and I'm still smiling. I had limited knowledge about open innovation at the beginning, and now I have unlimited questions, but we don't have time. Luckily, you are at ITU. But we have a question. I would like to share it with you. Here it's coming. From Yusuf Mas, how can we fairly distribute the revenue or other outcomes generated from commercialization of the, thank you so much, of the ideas generated in open innovation activities?
Well, I had another case, so let me give the answer from this case shortly. The case is about the Carlsberg's green fiber bottle that was developed by Eco Xpack company, packaging company for Carlsberg in collaboration with the university, Denmark Technical University, and the Danish University, and Blerud Kursnas. I hope I read it correctly. Sorry about it. This is also another company who ventured Eco Xpack, and university worked for Eco Xpack. This is the developer company. Carlsberg is the product, the producer who needs the bottle. Everyone wins. So how does Carlsberg manage these things? For example, as Carlsberg in this kind of bottle case, sustainable bottle. This is 100% biodegradable bottle, by the way. What do? They sign a non-disclosure with their partners, and they sign exclusive agreements to protect their first mover advantage. Why? Because they are the financer of this innovation. The other partners are not allowed to move before Carlsberg in the market. For example, Eco Xpack cannot sell this bottle patent to someone without Carlsberg, before Carlsberg takes the whole competitiveness. So the Carlsberg decides if they want to put it on the market or they can pass the opportunity to another company. So we call it the launch it first right and preserving their first mover advantage. And after their launch, the other partners can sell the technology behind the bottle to anyone else. So there are many solutions. There are many contract types. But as the Hofmeier, the head of this innovation report said, when something can reach the right scale and scope is not just confined to one company or one industry. So even these producers do not want to keep the others from utilizing it. So even Carlsberg changed their strategy in this case, for example. Yusuf, I hope it helped a lot. It helped a little. Sorry.
You can also use your mic if you would like to add something, Yusuf.
No,
I think we are.
That answers.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time.
Everyone for listening me. Hope to meet in the future events.
We wish to be with you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.